Ladies and gentlemen, performance. Now, without further ado, we may proceed to the trial of our god.
Yes, you deserve praise for the effort you took to raise the dramatic stakes. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice, the embodiment of justice itself. Does it not strike you as even the least bit absurd to bring the very concept of justice to trial?
May I interpret these words as your refusal to stand trial? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it. She just surrendered.
Surrendered to a human?
Wow, how utterly humiliating.
Lady Farina, what is the meaning of this?
Shh! It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding. To be clear, the raising of both hands is not always an indication of surrender.
Looking for excuses again, huh?
I raised my hands just now to indicate my acceptance of the trial. No duel shall be necessary. I will admit that I've been running away for a long time. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect the people of Poisson. It is my duty to stand trial for my crimes. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. I, too, am exceedingly disappointed in myself. But now, it is time for the Hydro Archon to show you her courage and resolve. I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice. This time, I will protect you. Applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and fantastical arcs known to the opera epiclese is now unfolding before your eyes. Mark my words, this shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine. The trial of the Hydro Archon, Focalor, will now begin!
Woohoo!
Oh, now we're making history!
Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Like, come on! Didn't she just get forced to stand trial for her crimes? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is taking this seriously this time, right?
All right, then. Who will be my opponent in this trial?
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very well. Then please speak, witness of Tivat, my accuser and fated opponent. Also, please allow me to ask, as a final question before the trial begins. Just how much work did you do to force me onto this stage?
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of the Spina di Rosula.
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to incite insurrection against you. The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. A spark was all we needed to turn smoldering anger into a flame. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something like that occurred, you would likely flee the scene and head to Poisson by yourself. So, we arranged for a second group to lie in wait there.
So, you mean, the ones who scoured the settlement for me were also from the Spina?
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate in the greatest magic performance in all of Fontanian history.
That's right. That house was a magic box, rather than someone's residence.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first performed at the Opera Epiclese, the volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Aranias. Its cargo, of course, was an Archon instead of a human. My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have pulled off such an extraordinary performance.
You're welcome?
Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct a giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of work for all of us.
So, in other words, the earthquake that we felt within the giant magic box was just a normal tremor from the transportation of the whole house?
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess Nervilette and Cloran's parts. You gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that the champion duelist would be immediately ready for a fight. Also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence without a hitch. Am I right?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage. Only the most outstanding champion duelist in all of Fontaine would accept a duel with an Archon without flinching.
Thank you.
As for you, Traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me distracted with conversation once you found me in Poisson. You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived onto the stage. Oh? Is that so? Then I suppose I must have missed my final chance. It's fine. It matters not. What's done is done. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to the very end.
Madam Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speed up the proceedings.
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too! Hey, Charlotte! Oh, let Paimon see. Isn't this the exclusive interview that she did with us before? So she's already finished it, huh? Wait, then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything that's happened ever since we stepped foot in Fontaine! So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our journey as evidence for an argument!
took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books, all right. I didn't think that this is the first time Monsieur Fatui, the fortress of The words of someone as extraordinary as a witch can probably only be
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervylette. There's no need to repeat all the unimportant legalese. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead actress of this performance, I still haven't even been informed of my supposed guilt in all of this. Of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However, you will need more than that to convict me of a crime.
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the Hydro Archon for forsaking her duty, but did I hear that right? She's not our Archon at all?
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty to the charge? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. How can I be guilty? There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other than your true Archon.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric, isn't it going too far to doubt her very identity?
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina can be super irresponsible, but what grounds does that prosecutor have to make such a huge claim?
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. There would be no fooling their memory. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure you want to commit to a charge that will never be upheld? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making a false accusation. We will treat everything that's happened as a dramatic spectacle and move on with our lives. What do you say to that?
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? We have to not only refute Farina's claims, but also overturn the long-held beliefs of the people.
Well, and if I was not the Archon, then how...
doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't think this clue can be used as compelling evidence to build our case. First of all, you...
Who gave you that?
A curse. I once thought it possible that the aura, but in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
Neuvillette sensed it too, huh?
Lady Farina is actually a human?
Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell humans and gods apart just by looking at them. It's not impossible.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even if I have been carrying a curse like you said, how does that prove that I am merely a human being? Besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That's why they're worshipped as gods. For centuries, manifestations of my authority have served the nation of Fontaine. One need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very opera house, or consider the endemnitium that is used in every aspect of life.
doesn't sound... You tried to reference the...
Didn't I make myself clear at the time?
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder of your... While the court is in session, you will prove yourself...
I never thought.
That was no trick of...
So, you neither knew why Child was... Instead of having been...
The real Hydro Archon. It is true that But the Oratries handed out that You can't...
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses.
My power at...
If that poses a concern...
you don't...
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons, thus did I give up...
Isn't that?
Yeah, no matter how generous...
It seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please, I'm still the same Farina you knew, right? Please?
If what the prosecutor said...
Did she deceive all of...
Enough! That's enough. Tell me then, if I'm not... If you have no
Wow. That doesn't sound... that doesn't... It has been established.
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can...
Miss Navia.
Super sorry. Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson, including those... So, Miss Farina, if we are to believe that you are indeed the... But, if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you, I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the...
Navia from the Spina... If Lady Farina's in...
Lady Farina, this...
Well, of course he had to tell her that.
She's just staring at...
What's going on?
Due to the inherent...
What?
Hey! I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now?
Miss Siegewien? If you're present, Miss Siegewien, please...
Siege, don't be nervous. It'll...
Please announce the results.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina, she was experiencing...
Thank you, Miss Siegewien. Lady Farina...
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't...
Well, considering, however, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample. We don't want anyone else to...
Yeah, so out of regard, it's a great thing that...
I can't believe... Listen to me, everyone. Please think about it. Also, if I... Please, everyone, anyone, just listen to me. I swear, I really am your art...
I don't think anything she says at this point was...
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway her to just two-stepped against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. as a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is guilty. We shall now turn to the oratrice mech. According to the judgment of the oratrice mécanique.
Well, what's wrong? What's the...
No, the
Isn't that correct then?
However, the to be punished.
That's actually one of
the one and only time.
Farina's been sentenced.
This outcome is indeed quite strange. Is this sentence?
Yeah, even Vache was in...
Indeed. But now, the...
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trial still...
Fremine! Oh, you finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission...
Is that the first? Huh. So...
I looked everywhere, but has the trial already concluded?
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to review the record left on the slate. Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like you to come here and confirm their contents.
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I've now made...
Huh? So when you say...
In truth, everything... However, I'm uncertain...
Okay, let's try to The first stone slate describes what... Does that mean that... The second stone slate shows... This must be the point when the The third slate shows the hydro... Huh. Well, the fourth slate is the prop... We didn't believe that such a crazy... That doesn't sound... That doesn't sound... That doesn't sound... That doesn't sound...
We know from the and the first this.
That doesn't sound quite right.
Perhaps what is it the truth and the... It's not as simple when Navi at the
That doesn't sound quite...
The prophecy from the fort, if we
They'll dissolve into the primordial... The Hydro Archon was set to... Navia fell into the water inside the... The eruption of the primordial sea... The stone slate's Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now, but then if you...
Let's hear them.
Incredible.
We're...
All Fontanians were the evidence for that... Oh, and according to Nav...
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first... That could also explain why
The Hydro Archon's true sin... was creating us?
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese. The twists of history are often the most unexpected of all.
signature just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain weeping on her throne. Only then will the sins of the people of Fontaine be washed away. Did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you... However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, they've also been etched with an additional layer. When we were at the ruins, now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher the narrative recorded within.
What?
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with your hypotheses regarding the In the Fontaine of Old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves expressed to the... However, even though not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiar. She poured primordial seawater into the... But if Fontainians would... Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race, and thus... The Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the true
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going to pretend that Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let...
This really might be...
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates wasn't a key point of the... They have not been The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well. You may also recall Navia's experience. Therefore... The meaning of the that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon. Yes, it refers...
I think I'm In truth,
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what...
If that's the case,
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy about the fourth slate. However, I believe as for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already... This eruption was just a small warning.
That doesn't sound quite right.
It was both dream...
If we're talking about a true...
The truth, the original...
was way too close! How did that thing just burst into the Opera House? Wait, was that the huge whale you saw in your dream?
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance here. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to grow. That is the main cause for the rising sea levels. And once it has finished consuming all of the energy contained within the sea, its next step will be...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids, she filled their blood vessels with primordial seawater.
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians nigh impossible to resist. Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontanians.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case, won't it come back to target the people again once it's managed to recover its strength?
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for buying us some time. Without him, the whale would have likely come onto land far sooner. From the way he looked, he must have been fighting the creature for quite a long time.
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us out like this. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to stop the prophecy would be to find a way to beat it up, right?
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this point, it has become practically integrated with the sea itself. Even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive and swim off toward...
That's not something I will accept. We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far.
Indeed, that's not...
I'll fight it to the end.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Just as prophecies are ultimately
What's happening with the Oratrice?
believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face.
You are not Farina.
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment.